Good morning. It's 9:30 in the morning, and as you can see, the sun hasn't come up over the mountains yet. It is a cloudy day, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing today for just a couple of minutes. These are the hostas that we've focused on recently, and my brother put a stump up here for me last year so that I'd have a place to put the pot on, so it would be raised above the Japanese anemones. And they get 2.5 to 3 feet tall, and then when they get flowers on them, the stems again are, 18, 24 inches tall. This gets to be a beautiful pink later on in the season. So he put this pot up so it would show. It's hard to get blue in a shade garden, or else you get too much blue, one of the two. And so he put these here, and he put a second one for a step, because I'm insistent on having steps so that I don't fall. And he put 2 here, and then he put this little slat. Well, that's not really sufficient. So I asked Joy today if she would see about getting me, I want a 3rd step. And I kind of want it down at an angle here. I can take that slat away. And so I just finished pulling out some anemones. Now remember, the best time to pull plants out of the ground is when the ground is wet. And these have huge roots on them, and there's a word for it, underneath. They travel they can go 6 or 8 feet, the roots, and then they'll come up and there'll be a whole nother plant. So I pulled out a really big one there. I had to do it one by one, and here's another stand, and I don't think I can pull that out one by one. I'll have to see about that. And in the process of doing that, I've decided to widen my exposure here along the pathway. And because these are going to the greenery is going to get 2.5, 3 feet tall and leans over the path, I'm going to have to back it up a little bit, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and thin out some of these hostas and plant them along the path. I think they'll make a nice little drift. I'll step back here a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So we have this kind of triangular area where these 2 paths are, front and side. And I think we'll just take this hosta down to at least the railroad ties. It's probably about 6 feet. We should have plenty of plants that I can reallocate. Oh. So you hear the big truck coming down. This is an asphalt road, this part of my road. And one lane wide. I do not know I think the trucks are empty going down. I could be mistaken. But I've just learned this morning that they're building 2 new houses up on the upper part of my road loops around. And they're building them for and going to sell them for about twice of what our house used to go for, or was currently valued at. And apparently they're building 2 houses right next to each other, which is kind of ugly in my point of view. Okay, so we're going to continue on with these lower hostas along the path here. Now I planted this monkey grass. I think that's the name of it. That's what we used to call it in Atlanta anyway. Because it doesn't get any taller than this along here. And it died out. This whole little round area was all this beautiful monkey grass, and I kept the Japanese anemones pulled out of the middle of it. And then all of a sudden, the center of it just kind of failed. So that's why I set the pot in here. I don't know if something came along and slept the night in the middle of that, or squished it down, or what. But, so that's the plan. We'll show you how that's coming along. This is filling out nice, isn't it? Oh, it's so enlivening to see things thrive with our attention and do well. And do well. I'm thinking I have a second pot like this. You know, I was going to do something for the hummingbirds. I think I'm just going to put some water in it out here, and one of those floating solar fountain things that's about 8 inches in diameter, and maybe that will work. We'll see if the creatures are attracted to it and tear it up and tip it over. I mean, I think, oh, we have a jack in the pulpit here in this part of the garden. And that's the back side of it. Can you see that? Oh, lovely surprises. The beauty of a woodland garden. So I think that, oh, the frog just jumped in the water. You see my rocks over there in the back? That stack? That's so creatures can escape. Well, it keeps getting knocked over, so I think something is coming in and drinking from my pond. Yeah, I know. I haven't gotten the fountain fixed. And the waterfall fixed yet. All in good time. All in good time. All in good time. So this area right here gets maybe 3 hours of sun in the late afternoon, because remember, the sun comes up from the east over the top of the mountain and the trees, and I get that much over the top part of the garden where the hostas and the impatiens and the violas are. And then everything's in shade until late afternoon. The sun is shining over the top of the house from the west, and I'll get some sun, maybe from that tree down to, you know, somewhere along here. So they will, whatever's planted out here gets some afternoon sun. And it's not terribly hot, but it's hot enough that I believe this is creeping Jenny, that's just about finished blooming, will kind of burn out. It doesn't do well in full sun in my experience. We'll watch it this year and see how it does. So you can see the walkway that my brother took the Clorox to, and of course it killed off the plants that were on the walkway. He made this walkway probably at least 6 to 8 inches wider, and the dirt fell down from the lawn. It just kept. That's why I planted all this moss. This the dark green is Irish, and the light green is Scots. I believe I have that right. Anyway, what's interesting about it's not true moss. The roots are like 6 to 8 inches deep. When you get the pot from the nursery, they're in really deep pots, and the roots go all the way down, versus true moss that just lives on the surface. I tried true moss, and that was a mistake, because I didn't understand that. So these must not be getting, these coleus must not be getting enough sun, because they haven't really grown much since I planted them. And the ones up in the center have grown 4 or 5 inches, and they're doing great. Oh, we have blossoms coming up on the hostas. Look at that. See, it's amazing. Here we have steps I have to step up on. Do you see that? Those will get like 3 feet tall, and we'll have blossoms that last for a while. You can see. And these are violas that I planted in my boxes, rail boxes, window boxes, all that, in October. And of course, they don't do so well in full sun, so we'll see how they do. I heard that there's a possibility they'll reseed themselves, but I'll probably have to buy. I'm going to try to plant seed start violas this next year. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to be a tour of things, but it's just things change with 3 to 5 days. These are continuing to fill out. They all have a lot of fresh growth in the center. You can see a lot of fresh growth. So, you know, they're going to bush out. And you see how big that's probably a fairly full-size plant there in the back. And each one of these is going to get that big, so it's going to be a huge mound of solid coral bells, heucheras. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I just love my garden. It just makes my heart full to see things growing and thriving. God's gift to us. I mean, there is a cycle to life with things growing and doing, you know, living for that period of time and then going dormant and reseeding and coming back the next year. But, oh, and this creeping Jenny has never been so fantastic. It's creeping all the way along here and filling in the hostas. Those were very small when they were planted about 4 years ago. They were probably 2-inch plants. And of course my Irish and Scots moss is spreading and growing a little bit, but it's very slow. Thank you for sharing. It's a blessed day. Thank you so much.